Okay, proceed.
Can you please introduce yourself for the court?
I sure can. My name's Jordan James.
And what do you do for a living, Ms. James?
I'm a little old bartender over there at Chucky's, but I also perform on the side. You should see me sometime. I'm pretty good.
Ms. James, were you working at Chucky's on the night of the accident?
I sure was.
And did Miss Dawson come in?
She did.
Did you order any drinks?
She did. She told me she had an interview. I don't think it went too well.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is admissible because we are not providing it for the matter of the truth asserted, but rather for the effect that it had on Danny Dawson's actions that night.
All right. What is the particular statement that they're trying to offer that you have a problem with?
That Danny Dawson told her, and then
That she had an interview?
Yes.
All right. Do you think that they're trying to offer the fact that she had an interview for the truth
No,
of the
but if
matter?
they're not, Your Honor, if they're not using it for the truth of the matter asserted, then I would go to change my objection to relevance.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is relevant because it actually shows why the defendant may have had several drinks at 2 in the afternoon.
Do you have an offer of proof as to what might the witness say?
The witness will attest to the fact that the only reason Danny Dawson would ever drink that early is because she was not very happy with the way the interview went.
Is there any way on earth that you could lay that foundation? That she would know that?
Yes, she is a close friend of Danny Dawson's, and she knows her quite well.
Challenge accepted. Sustained for now until that foundation has been laid.
Motion to strike, Your Honor.
Yes, sure.
Miss James, you're good friends with Danny Dawson, aren't you?
I am.
So, would you say that you're familiar with her actions?
I am. I've seen Danny plenty of times.
So, when Danny told you that she had a job interview that day,
Objection, Your Honor, facts, not evidence.
Yeah, that's true. Remember, it got stricken from the record.
okay. So, what did Danny tell you again that night when she came into the bar?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
All right, well, no, we've
Your Honor,
already
I think
established that
we've
it's not hearsay because it's not being offered for the truth of the matter. So that objection's overruled.
Well, then I would change my objection to relevance.
In addition, we've laid that foundation by saying that she is familiar with the actions of Miss Dawson.
We have a vicious circle because to establish the foundation, he needs to establish why.
Right, but to what he tested before, if he goes into that, then I would change my objection to speculation of Danny's
Yeah.
mindset.
All right.
I don't think she's speculating to the mindset because, in fact, she is not saying what Danny Dawson would have done because she was drunk. She's saying what Danny Dawson told her.
Let's solve it this way. What is your ultimate goal to get out?
I'm simply trying to let everyone understand that Danny Dawson had a rough day that evening and was simply wanting to drink at Chucky's Sports Bar.
And started real early in the afternoon.
She started at the time of her interview.
Okay. Well, just ask those questions, and you can still get out all that information by asking what that witness saw or heard. But you see where I'm going? You can still get out all of that information by saying, yeah, Danny came in at such and such time. Danny was drinking. Did Danny tell you why she was drinking? Yeah. So go about it that way. All right. So it's the same for now.
When Miss Dawson came into the bar, did she tell you why she was drinking?
Yeah, she had an interview next door to the bar. She came in and she was just a little flustered. I don't think it went too well. So she had a few drinks.
She didn't give me hearsay.
Good.
So, how did you keep track of the drinks that Miss Dawson was having at the bar?
But we have receipts of all the orders we take.
Would you recognize a copy of the receipt if I showed you one?
Pretty sure I would.
Permission to approach the opposing counsel?
Okay.
I'm showing the opposing counsel as two marks for identification as defense exhibits D and E. Permission to approach the witness?
You may.
I'm showing the witness those same documents. Ms. Dawson, do you recognize these documents?
I sure do.
And how do you recognize them?
Well, these are the receipts from the night of the accident.
do they appear to have been changed or altered in any way?
Not that I can tell.
Now, is it a regular part of your business activity to create records such as this one?
It is.
And is it part of your regular business activity to keep records such as this one?
It is.
When were these records printed?
September 24th, the night of the accident.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to offer into evidence defense exhibits D and E.
Are they both receipts?
Yes.
Okay. Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, no objections, sir.
Out of the 19 drinks on that bar tab, how many would you say Mr. Dawson actually consumed?
Well, Danny girl, she's a pretty generous little lady. She has so many friends at that bar, and I'm sure she was giving out drinks all night long, buying everybody drinks. So she'd probably have about half of the amount on this tab, probably about 8 or 9. But then, like I said, everybody loves
Objection, Your Honor.
Danny.
Second.
Absolutely. Sustained. The witness can testify to what she has knowledge of, but she can't guess as far as how many drinks were given to who, or, you know, who consumed. So if she can say, you know, Danny only had this, or Danny gave this to so-and-so, that's absolutely admissible, but she can't guess. Okay, so
Motion to strike.
it's stricken.
Your Honor, can she give an estimate as to how many drinks based on the bar
Well,
tab?
I think as a bartender, it'd be pretty easy for her to say, I gave X number of drinks to Danny, you know, and then let the jury, you know, just believe that Danny drank them. Or I know that Danny gave X number to people in the party, but she can't, the way she said it is, I guess Danny had about 8 or 9. That is out of bounds.
Okay. Well then, Miss James, are you good friends with Miss Dawson?
I am.
And how so?
Well, back in the summer, me and her were on a little softball team together. And the funny thing is, Danny, sober or not, she has no kind of coordination. And it's funny because the coach, she make like a little joke and stuff about how Danny is the most likely to get wrongfully tested for a DUI. And it's funny because we have a little cop on our team who even brought a little sobriety test with her and just tested out Danny. But we never really found out the outcome, so I don't think it went too well for Danny.
Now, did you see Miss Dawson right before she left the bar?
I did.
Was she drunk?
Well, far as I could tell, she wasn't drunk. And I've seen Danny drunk plenty of
Objection,
times.
Your Honor. Proper opinion.
Why?
The opposing counsel is asking the defendant.
I need the court reporter, but I think he asked, in her opinion, was she intoxicated? And she can give her opinion as to whether or not. I think that foundation, even though hadn't specifically been asked, the fact that she's a bartender, constantly serving drinks around drunks, she can give that opinion. So as long as the question were worded that way, I will allow it. Restate the question.
I'm sorry, Miss James. Do you think that Danny was drunk before he left the bar?
Well, I've seen Danny drunk plenty of times, but as far as I could tell that night, she was not drunk. Her words weren't slurred or anything.
And did anything happen right before she left?
Well, someone did offer her a shot, but they were walking out of the bar and I really couldn't tell, and I really wasn't concerned because I knew Danny would never drink and drive.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Your Honor, she has said that, in her opinion, Danny would never drink and drive.
If she has some way of knowing that, then it would be admissible. But as of right now, she hasn't shown that she would know that, other than saying she's friends with Danny. If she can point out some sort of example in the past, then, you know, that foundation would be laid. All right, so sustained for now.
Motion to strike, Your Honor.
It is stricken.
Can you point out any other examples in the past?
Well, in the past, Danny has given away her keys dozens of times when she's drunk. She's even taken taxis home and come back in the morning to pick up her car. That's one of her main priorities, is to never get behind the wheel and drive, or drink and drive.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You may.
Tender evidence to the bench.
Permission to approach. votes yes? Okay. All right, you're good. Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Permission to proceed?
You may.
Ms. James, you remember serving Danny Dawson drinks that night, correct?
Correct.
You remember a shot of beer?
Yes, 2 shots of beer.
You took one of the shots with her, in fact.
I did.
However, you don't really recall any other drinks actually going to Danny's table, correct?
I remember the 2 shots in beer. That wasn't that wasn't the shot me and Danny had. That was for Danny and a friend.
But you don't really recall or remember how many drinks Danny actually drank that night, do you?
Well, I was performing. I really couldn't keep tabs. you know?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
No, I mean, it's a yes or no question. She either remembers or she doesn't. So she can answer that.
Again, Ms. James, you don't actually remember how many drinks the defendant actually drank that night.
But like I said, I was a performer that night. I was too busy with my own job.
So that's a yes, you don't remember.
I just wasn't keeping tabs.
So, yes. Now, Ms. James, you actually recall Danny getting darts that night, correct?
Yeah, but I didn't give him the darts.
Yeah, but you remember her receiving darts.
No, she asked for the darts, but I didn't give them to her.
Yes, and you didn't give them to her. So you took them, she actually received them, but you took them away from her, correct?
Yeah, you don't want Danny throwing around darts. She's so uncoordinated.
Yes, but after you took away the darts, Danny told you that she must have been off her game that night, correct?
Danny's always off her game. She couldn't even hit a baseball bat.
She actually even told you, she even asked you if the board was spinning, correct?
Well, yeah.
Now, that kind of told you that maybe Danny was buzzed at that time.
I mean, she was drinking. She probably was buzzed.
So, Danny Dawson actually went to you to, or the defendant went to you to pay her tab, correct?
Right.
And when she came up to you, you heard her tell Taylor Hobson that she was going to get them home in record time.
Well, I heard them arguing. Taylor was supposed to be designated driver that night, from what I was hearing. But apparently Taylor was drunk, and so Danny had to step up to the plate.
But you also, back to my question, you heard Danny Dawson tell Taylor Hobson that she was going to get them home in record time, correct?
Correct.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Your Honor, under 801 D2, it's admission by a party opponent.
However, in this case, it's more prejudicial rather than probative, and so I ask that it would not be allowed.
More prejudicial than probative under what rules?
Under Rule 402, 403.
And what is the balance test established by 403?
I believe that the probative value must be substantially outweighed by, the probative value must not be substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice.
All right. What was the original statement? Where are you going?
That Danny was going to get them home in record time.
And you're worried that that is a risk of unfair prejudice?
Yes, because it's going to show that Danny may have, in fact, sped on the road.
And acted recklessly, which is one of their burdens that they have to prove.
Exactly.
All right, motion is overruled.
Again, you heard Danny Dawson tell Taylor Hobson that she was going to get them home in record time.
She might have said something like that. It was really loud at the bar. All I heard was some arguing going on.
Are you saying you didn't hear Danny Dawson say that she was going to get them home in record time?
I said I might have heard a little something like that.
So yes, you did.
Yes.
Now, Ms. James, you've worked at Chucky's for a little while now,
Sure have.
and you would say that you rely on a pool of customers for your income.
I do. It's a bartending job. That's what you do.
And you would say that Danny Dawson's actually one of those customers.
Yeah, Danny's a generous person.
And you actually hope that she comes back to Chucky's sometime.
Of course, I want all my customers to come back.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Your Honor, if I may make an offer of proof, The testimony is going to go into how the bias of the witness, and it will go into income received from the defendant. And
Well, I don't see it now, but I will give you a little bit of latitude, a couple of questions. And if she doesn't establish how this affects the bias of the witness, certainly would be your objection. But until then, overrule.
Motion to strike until she establishes that.
Well, no, because she's about to re-ask the question. And I'm going to let her go into a couple of questions. But at that point, if she doesn't show how it's relevant, renew your motion and then we'll strike the whole thing.
Ms. James, you actually hope that Dane Dawson, or the defendant, returns to Chucky sometime.
Yeah, just like all my other customers, I want business from my board.
Now you would actually call Dane Dawson a rainmaker, correct?
Well, she is a generous girl. She's always giving money, never too cheap.
So the concept of the rainmaker is that if the customer keeps you happy, you keep them happy.
Well, that's the policy for any bartender, any waitress, waiter. I mean, you want to keep your customers happy.
Actually, the defendant actually accounts for $2,000 of your income in the past 2 years.
That's correct, but the IRS takes a lot of that.